Hi, my name is Vitaly Ilyin. I'm a chief architect for ICKnowledge. ICKnowledge is a boutique consulting company. We provide services in the area of enterprise architecture, innovation, and strategy. What we decided to do, as already mentioned in a couple of previous videos, is we decided to create a series of videos that we call Enterprise Architecture with ICKnowledge. This particular sub-series is the topic of this sub-series is big data. So we are going through the series of, we're going to record a series of videos for big data. And this is part 3, evolution and not a revolution. So, if you had a chance, to watch, and if you didn't, obviously, I mean, you can go and you can find by keywords or by, just, like looking for ICKnowledge or looking for the big data, previous recordings. The previous recordings we called, we showed the reference architecture and product mapping, the approach that you should use to understand your need and what products you would need to implement your big data infrastructure, big data environment. And the second, actually that was the second lecture. And the first lecture we just basically showed you that big data is nothing new, so the lecture was called Nothing New Under the Sun and 4x4 approach. We're going to continue expand on this 4x4 we're going to continue on this 4x4 notion and showing you that it's really as simple as 1, 2, 3, 4. So these are 4 sort of steps, 4 components of the big data that you have to think about when you're thinking about big data or when you're thinking about your environment. And again, there is nothing scary, there is nothing new. All the concepts are just evolved. All the concepts evolved. And again, all of the consulting companies out there, right? I mean, large 5 and all of the analysts that exist in IT area, Gartner, Forrester, they like you to believe that this is something new, that you're dealing with some new phenomena. No, it's not. It's everything that you already know. It's just you are just stepping to the conceptual new level, and you start dealing with something that evolved from what you knew previously, and that's exactly what this lecture, lecture or video is about. Video is fairly short. Literally, I wanna concentrate your attention on a couple slides. So let's start. We looked at the previous videos that literally you have to think about 4 things. So you need to be able to when you're talking about big data or big data area, what big data area is covering, you need to be able to digest data, you need to be able to process the initial processing of the data fast. Then you need to be able to capture the data somewhere, and then you need to be able to do further processing, which is not your real time. It may be your, at the end of the day, at the end of the, week, month, whatever that time period that you have is more similar to your data warehousing or BINA analysis that you've used to do. And all of this runs on the infrastructure. So this is exactly what we're showing. So there is think about it, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, ingest data and do initial real-time analysis to capture the data in a distributed data lake. 3, distribute, do further transaction within the your data warehousing system and do BINA type of analysis. And all of this, you want all of this to be run on the same support infrastructure. What you want to do is you want to do as little as possible of moving data around, and that's where this concept of distributed data and distributed data lake comes from, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. Think about it in this way. So evolution, not revolution. Really, I mean, we looked at the previous lectures again. That we looked at all of the new concepts. So in the streaming area, that streaming is nothing new. It's pretty much your previous event-based processing. Data lake is nothing new other than just creating the kind of a centralized, securely controlled data environment where you capture data and you may capture the initial results of the initial preliminary analysis, and then you would use it for further analysis. Again, it's just the concept. There is nothing new to the data lake concept. It's just a new word for it, and all of this Hadoopish type of processing, it's again nothing new. It's your enterprise data warehousing. So here, what I'm showing is that don't think about it as the revolution. Here I'm showing you, images of the French Revolution, whatever, Russian Revolution, Lenin, here, whatever, Che Guevara, right? So do not think about it as any revolutionary term. Think about it as evolution. Darwin, the way that human became from the ape and so forth. So this is the evolutionary steps or process. This big data is just the next step. I mean, something new will come along in another 10 years, but this is really just one step in the process. It's evolution. It's not revolution. And this slide, what it shows you, I took a Gartner, just kind of the snapshot of Gartner's hype cycle for emerging technologies. I did it on purpose. I took 2014. We are in 2016, so I hope I'm not breaking any copyright laws. Well, I mean, if I am, please contact me. I'm gonna whatever take it away or make amendments with it. But I hope that I don't. I believe that if this is a little bit out of date. But the point, I just want to show you the point here, and the point there are a couple points here. First, I wanted to show you that if you need at any point in time, like today, this year, next year, or a couple of years from now, if you want to understand where a particular technology stands at which stage in this in the hype cycle, you can go to Gartner. And I actually like their presentation, their view of things. It's as you see, it's a time. Here's your time scale, and here's expectations. So initially there is very large hype cycle, and then the hype goes down, and then the technology kind of becomes more of becomes commoditized. So right now, big data, well, at least a couple of years ago, big data was right here. And actually, a couple of years ago, I would say that 2014 is probably the first year when people started, at least we started seeing on our engagements, people really getting interested in it. I mean, before that, maybe, I want to say 6, 7, 8 years ago, yes, people started looking into NoSQL databases. Basically, people wanted to do things faster, but there was really no concept of big data. And I would say that probably maybe around 2012, big data started probably climbing up here, and then you see that 2014 is right here. So we are in 2016. So I really want to say that big data is definitely, it's definitely somewhere in this area. I don't know whether it's still on a sort of on a dive down and is going to bottom out, or it's already raising up. I would say probably that it's somewhere over here already, because I think we've seen really great momentum with big data. And again, it would be very interesting. It's actually for you would be very interesting probably to go to Gartner and to pull out their 2016 a hype cycle. And it's actually, you see that it's August 2014, and Gartner is usually they are pretty methodical about issuing their reports around the same time every year. So for example, on some technologies you would see reports around February time frame, for some reports maybe Q4. So this report was about around August 2014. So I am expecting Gartner probably would publish another report for this year, a report for 2016. And to be quite honest, I would think that the big data, I would bet that big data would probably end up somewhere right here, because I think we already passed that a bottom out effect. So that's one thing, and just for you again to understand, just sort of keep these concepts in mind, that again, it's nothing new. This is just a hype. We are on a hype curve. I think we already passed that hype curve. I think we're already coming out to a good understanding of what big data is and what the environments are. Now, and here I saw, I don't remember where I saw this timeline as well, but I actually liked it. And if you look here, I'm not going to spend too much time, but if you have sometime, just kind of go through this sort of major milestones, so to speak. So big data is a concept, and we kind of started backwards, right? I mean, we sort of put the cart in front of the horse, because the Hadoop, basically Hadoop sort of kicked off the whole big data notion, and we started from the ETL-ish and data warehousing side of things, and this is what you see in 2002. Google introduced, MapReduce concept. Then the Google white paper came out in 2004. Then Hadoop and Yahoo kind of started taking off. So you see that around 2004, 2006, Hadoop starts taking off. So, but again, the same concepts. I mean, the same compute and data storage, data location somewhere. So it's compute and storage. Keep these two things in mind when you're thinking about all of these big data areas. Think about computing power and data storage. So you obviously, to do things faster, you want to put these two things together, right? Either bring data to compute or bring compute to over to the data. And if you want to do real-time, streaming analysis, so you're introducing that third dimension, the time dimension, which pretty much separates Hadoop from your streaming. And initially, as I said, all of the developments were happening on the data warehouse side. Then there was Hadoop Summit, and then there was a Spark paper. Spark paper was published in 2010, so about a good 6 years after Google paper, and about 8 years after Google MapReduce. Then there was McKinsey big data paper came out, and that's when probably arguably there was the first time McKinsey was probably the first company who really kind of articulated what big data is and the difference of big data from your regular data. So the paper came out, and I believe it was around 2011 or 2012, something like that. And around the same time, we started seeing implementation. We started seeing moving of sort of Hadoop implementation of the same concepts, of the same massive parallel processing and a massive data storage towards sort of front office, towards streaming and towards initial processing, and really getting the business insights from the initial analysis. So high-level processing, DAG, cyclic graphs, data cyclic graphs are based on memory processing. Again, in memory, we are doing it in memory because we want to bring data closer to closer to compute, and we want to do it faster. And now in 2014, Apache Spark top level. So now, as you know, Spark is at version 2.0 already, and lots of companies offering it. Not just those three companies that sort of provide you support for open source Hadoop stack implementations such as Cloudera, MapR, and Hortonworks. I am very big supporter of Amazon AWS. They have that EMR implementation in the cloud. They have their own beta or more enhanced implementation of the entire Hadoop stack. I mean, obviously, other large companies such as SAP and IBM also have their own implementation of the same. But now it's really, I think again, going back to the Gartner's hype cycle curve, I think we start coming out of here. I think over the next couple of years, maybe, I don't know, like 2 to 3 years, you'll see lots of commoditization of offering of implementation offering around the big data infrastructure. All right, so that's pretty much it for this video. Just to put you in the context, so as I said, part 2 was reference architecture and product mapping. So this lecture is called evolution and not revolution. So I just wanted to show you the Gartner hype cycle, and really kind of give you a little bit of history behind the big data, and to link it into our previous couple sections. The next 2 videos, or actually 3 videos, I am gonna spend on looking at the business use cases. I already mentioned to you that our company works primarily in the finance and insurance, both health insurance and VC insurance areas. And the next lecture, we're gonna look at the business use case in the finance and primarily in the investment banking industry. Thank you so much for your attention. And before I let you go, I just wanted to mention to you that I included here our slogan: imagine insightful impact of integrated information. Vitaly Ilyin with you. I see you.